Oh, it's Friday. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. 1TS Daily here at One True Sports. I'm your host, Zack Heydorn from Brass Ring Media. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for joining me on this Friday morning. It's August 23rd, 2024. Man, oh man, we got a busy weekend in wrestling. Who's ready for AEW All In? Let's see those hands go up in the live chat. I'm sure everybody's is. It's going to be a big weekend. And we are here today on 1TS Daily to preview that that little event, or that big event, I should say, that'll take place in just a couple days on Sunday afternoon, live from Wembley Stadium in the UK. All sorts of discussion and analysis and predictions to be had about that show right here. We're going to spend the majority of today talking about that show and previewing that show with you guys. Thanks to everybody who's joining us live on YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's listening and watching us on Twitter. If you are a One True Sport member and you're listening to this as an audio podcast, hello and thank you. Thank you for your membership. If you're interested in seeing what we offer for One True Sport members, head to onetruesport.com right now, and you can check out our membership options, see what we have to offer. In all of them, you get this show as an audio podcast. Pretty cool feature. Take it with you. Take it on the road to the gym, to the grocery store, wherever you need to go throughout the day. You also get some really cool interactions with some of the biggest legends the professional wrestling industry has ever seen. I mean, the list, our roster right now: Arn Anderson, Kurt Angle, Jake the Snake Roberts, Rob Van Dam. I mean, some of the best in the business. You don't want to miss it. So head over to onetruesport.com right now and pick your membership tier. You won't be disappointed. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, hey, do me a favor, like the video, please. It helps us get into the algorithm. I'll just flat out say it. It does. And appreciate you in advance for doing that. Helps us grow, helps us kind of get the show and the channel to where we want to be. If you're not subscribed to the channel, well, man, you definitely have to do that. It's totally free to do so. And there's free content that drops there all week long in addition to this show. So subscribe right now to the One True Sports YouTube channel. The live chat's open. We got people filing in there right now. Super chats are open as well. If you're able to make a contribution to the show, we will bump your comment or question right to the top of the list and make sure it gets read on air. Any contribution amount helps us greatly. So thank you in advance if you're able to do that. All right, look, enough business. Enough business. Let's get in and let's talk AEW All In. It is a 9-match card, so it's going to be another long show. But I think it's overall, a well-built pay-per-view event, like top to bottom. I mean, I think, yes, there's misses in here along the way, which we'll talk about, but collectively speaking, I think it's a pretty strong lineup, definitely or significantly stronger than last year's lineup. I mean, I don't know. Like, when you just look at the matches that are taking place this year compared to last year, no comparison, if you ask me. And then you layer on that the builds, to the matches this year as compared to last year. Like, I'd say All In 2024 is heads above the All In 2023 show, and it hasn't even happened yet. So they still have time to even blow that out of the water more if and when the matches deliver like they should. So I think AEW should be really proud of the card that they've built here and the story they've put behind it. Again, it's not all perfect. I mean, there are certainly some very, very large gaps in storytelling in some of their big programs, and you don't want that. But at the same time, collectively, when you look at the show, I think it's absolutely like a thumbs up effort. And that it showed. I think it's showed. In the push in tickets the last 48 hours. Dave Meltzer reported yesterday. We talked about this on the show that that they sold more than 50,000 tickets now. They crossed the 50,000 threshold. And I think that's significant, to do that coming out of AEW Dynamite, which was to me like the best pay-per-view hype episode that AEW's ever done was this week. And so, yeah, they got a little bit of momentum right now. TV deal is coming. We don't know when. We don't know how much it's going to be, but it's coming. I don't think Tony Khan would be wearing a Max hat or a Warner Brothers Discovery hat on interviews if it wasn't. So that's all in the hopper too. But let's preview the show. We'll run through some of the low card matches here, and just to make sure that we get to everything within our time frame here. The AEW Trios titles are on the line. It's a London Ladders match, and it's the Patriarchy against the House of Black, against the Bang Bang Gang, and then against a mystery team. That team has been decided. It's a pre-recorded collision where we get that final team. I'm not going to play spoiler just in case people are going to watch the show on Saturday night, but there's another team that wins this. Luckily, when you analyze this match and kind of make predictions, you don't need to know what that team is, because the match itself is just a little irrelevant, just like the AEW Trios Championships. At this point in time, if you ask me, the Trios Championships are doing more harm than good when it comes to serving the company and serving the AEW product. So this match, it's just kind of happening. Yes, there's been like a bit of these different teams so far have crossed paths, but there's no like deep rooted issue here. It's not like a focus of the show. It's not a focus of these stars. And so, it's your action-packed match. As Andrew says here in the chat, it's a car crash. It's a car crash. Andrew says another multi-man match, 12 men in a match is a lot, especially for a car crash. Yeah, I mean, it is. Like this is going to be your AEW match where you got big spot, and in between, people just kind of laying around the outside of the ring. I'm personally am overseeing those kind of matches. However, I can willfully admit that they, are matches that people in AEW like to see, and that usually get some decent reactions. So that's what this is going to be. I'm taking the Patriarchy to win here. There's no real story at hand. No reason to take the belts off of them at this point in time. Hook is going to challenge Chris Jericho for the FTW Championship. It's happening. This feud needs to wrap up. I don't think it's been a really bad feud. I think it's been a totally fine, low card feud. I think it gets. I think it people look at this a little bit differently because Chris Jericho is in it, and he's really not a low card guy by definition. But that is what this is. This is a bottom of the card match. And that's what it is. And so when you look at it through that lens, it's got a decent story arc, I mean, there's fireballs involved and things like that. But in the end, like, I think you have a babyface and Hook that people are going to want to see beat up the heel and Chris Jericho and get the title back. And I think that's exactly what you're going to see. I hope that, so I'm taking Hook in this match. I hope that it's short. Hope that it's short and sweet. That's Hook. You ask Hook to do more than short and sweet, you really open him up to like losing some of the mystique, losing some of the allure, losing some of the, the riz, if you will. Don't do that. Don't do that. It'd be like asking Goldberg in 1998 to have like a 30-minute match. Like, that's silly. Doesn't help you at all. Now, Hook eventually is going to need to like transition and be able to work longer matches, but it doesn't have to be this weekend. So I hope we see a couple suplexes, submission, and then a tap out. Like, I think that's the best way to make Hook. I surmise though that we're going to get something heavier than that. We're going to get Jericho out there thinking to himself, all right, hey, I can be the one that can bring Hook to have a really good in-ring match. And maybe he can. I don't know. But to me, that Jericho ego is going to be on display, and I think this ends up getting more time than it should. But in the end, Jericho puts over Hook. Will he get over Hook? That's the question. A lot of the Jericho conversation now is, hey, he's a guy that's going to be working with young talent because he can get him over. Well, now it's time to put up or shut up. Putting somebody over and getting somebody over, two entirely different things. We talked about that yesterday on the show. He's going to put Hook over. Is Hook going to be in a different place? That remains to be seen, and I doubt it. But we'll see. Morning, Ken. What's going on? Ken says here, morning, wrestling fans. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good morning, wrestling fans. Thanks for being here, Ken. Appreciate it, man. Ken also says here, Jericho should do what Terry Funk did for ECW. Yeah, I mean, he should. He's got to deliver, though. So, it remains to be seen. I think Jericho, there's a part of his ego that still thinks he can deliver better than he can. I don't think that the recognition is there yet that, maybe I can't do what I could do a few years ago. So he's got to square with that. All right, we got a casino gauntlet match. The winner is going to earn a shot at the AEW World title. We know Orange Cassidy's entry number 1. We know Hangman Page is going to be in it. We know Evil Uno is going to be in it. We know Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly will also be in it. What do we expect here? That's the question. We know what this match is going to be. It's Royal Rumble-esque. That's it. Not much to analyze. So really the only analysis to be had is who's going to win. What are the surprises going to be? Yesterday, Fightful reported that Ricochet has signed a multi-year contract with AEW. I'd imagine we see him in this match. Will we see Bobby Lashley? He's a free agent. Will Jon Moxley be involved? Will Okada be involved? Will people that don't have matches on the card be involved? Hopefully the answer is yes. I mean, if you're going to sell this as a big time battle royal and the world title's on the line, all the top guys should be in it. I mean, they really should. They really should be. So hopefully they are. If Ricochet shows up, I know that there's going to be an urge to put him over here. I wouldn't. I would not. I would have Hangman Page and him last till the end, be the last people in, not in the match, but to enter, and then you have Page beat him, or Page win definitively. That's the match they should go to. Putting Ricochet over here is smart in some ways because you want to define him right out of the gate as a big deal. But in other ways, he's not going to win the world title. So he's going to be doing another job, very, very quickly at a higher main event level. And you don't want that. I think you sacrifice a lot less by just having him lose the Battle Royal match. And so that's what I would do. I have him come in, do all of his high-flying stuff, and then move right along. Adam Page wins, sets up a title match down the road. You heard it here first. All right, tag team championships. Young Bucks, the Acclaimed, FTR. Whoo, boy. All right, people in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for this match? Just drop it. Just drop 1 to 10. 10 being very excited, 1 being not at all. I'm more at a 3, I think. This match to me just has no oomph behind it, no juice, no real intrigue. It's I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but it's man, the Young Bucks are kind of in an afterthought match in AEW for the tag titles. And that's not good. Ken says here, 6 to 7. Andrew says this match sucks. 1, and I'm an acclaimed guy. Yeah, you are an acclaimed guy. So that's saying something. If the big acclaimed fans can't get into this, you've got some kind of problem. So I expect like the action to be fine here. I expect, there to be some cool spots and some near falls and whatever. Like you're going to get like the Young Bucks classic on this, but a lot of it just doesn't feel like it matters enough. And I think that's a sad state of affairs. If you're the Young Bucks in particular, you should want to matter more than you do in the company you help build. And the fact that this match is where it is and is pretty forgettable, I think that's a problem if you ask me. I'm taking the Young Bucks to retain their titles. Like, and the reason why is what are they without those tag team titles? I mean, the little power, EVP feud thing with Tony Khan is essentially over. That fizzled. Their gimmick is kind of flat. If they're not the champions, they really have no relevance on the show. I don't think you want that. Even if you're an anti-Bucks fan, like they are important to AEW, and you got to keep them relevant, and the titles do that, unfortunately. So Young Bucks to win that match. TNT Championship, coffin match. Jack Perry defending against Darby Allin. Darby Allin has an undefeated record in coffin matches. I think he loses it here. I think he loses his undefeated record for a couple different reasons. One, Jack Perry is a heel work in progress, right? Like that's still pretty young. It's in its infancy in terms of like what and how he's going to be used in the company. So I think if he loses, man, I mean, you really pull the rug out from under him. On the other side of the coin, Darby reports surfaced, earlier this week that he was maybe in consideration for World Championship run. He's already won the TNT Championship 3 times. It's like, okay, does he really need to go back to that division again? He also has a world title match at the Grand Slam event at Arthur Ashe Stadium. So, him holding the TNT Championship makes that a bit awkward. So to me, that leaves you one option, and I think Jack Perry wins, and like Andrew, I think he wins in some kind of terribly violent way. Either he, maybe and this is legitimate. I could very much see Jack Perry shoving Darby Allin in the coffin and lighting the coffin on fire. Now, are people going to be into that at this point? I don't know. It's not believable. That's not going to happen. This is a problem with that kind of a spot in a wrestling match, is that Darby Allin is not going to get burned alive in a coffin by Jack Perry. Are you willing to suspend your disbelief? That's the question. I'm not anymore, especially for these two. Like maybe in some other world, with some other feud, I would be, but not here. So I kind of hope it doesn't happen, but I think it's going to happen. And if you're going to keep going with Jack Perry the way that you are, it kind of needs to happen. Yes, similar to the Royal Rumble finish. Yep, exactly. So, yeah, that's what I think. What's up, Ryan? Just joined the chat as well. Good to have you, Ryan. Thank you. We're previewing AEW All In. We still got a couple more matches to go here. All right, TBS Championship. Mercedes Moné against Britt Baker. These two I thought had a good final angle on this week's episode of Dynamite. Like, they didn't get too meta. They, talked about the championship. They talked about beating the other person. They gave some context as to why, there's tension with Mercedes' contract and Britt being an AEW original. So, that is important to jump through those hoops. And it was simple. It was to the point, but I think it did a nice job of making Britt this very likable babyface. Mercedes was an obnoxious, annoying heel. Now they're going to fight, and they're two big names. I said this on our Brass Ring Media show yesterday. And if you And if you go to YouTube, to the Brass Ring Media YouTube channel, you can check out our Brass Ring Media preview. It's a little bit different than this, works a little bit differently, and co-host. So we go back and forth a lot on these matches. I hope you do. You can sign up for Brass Ring Media right now. Subscribe on YouTube for free. We do offer membership too. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. That's free too for the first 7 days to get a trial membership. So hopefully you check that out. I think if you like the conversation we're having here, I think you'll like what we do on the channel and what my team does and just all the other content that we have. So Brass Ring Media, YouTube, Brass Ring Media, Patreon, go there. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Mercedes Moné can and or is interested in carrying Britt Baker to a match here. Andrew says this is going to be an awful match. I stand on business that they are terrible in-ring workers, and Mercedes ain't great on the mic, but she's chasing them checks. I mean, look, she's chasing the checks, but I disagree on Mercedes as an in-ring worker. She is a great in-ring worker. She never has bad matches. Come on, guys. Come on, Andrew. She doesn't have bad matches. When's the last bad match that she had? Like, bad match. I think you can name like 5, 6, 7, 8 really good matches before you can name a bad match. So that's just me. Is Britt Baker a believable babyface? Yeah, I thought she was. Long term it remains to be seen. But opposite Mercedes, she comes off a lot better because Mercedes comes off really badly, really poorly, and really nasty as a heel. So I think Britt is kind of capitalizing off of Mercedes Moné there. Andrew says here, don't come on me. Stephanie Vaquer ate her lunch. You need to go back and rewatch that match, sir. It's the other way around. Mercedes carried Vaquer in that match. She really did. Watch it again. All right? Just saying. Thanks, Andrew. So I'm taking Mercedes here. There's just no way they take those belts off her at this point. I think Britt Baker is going to be in a position to maybe lose up. She could lose this match and then eventually get a shot at Mariah May potentially. That I think is what's in the cards here. But Mercedes is not losing at this point in time. MJF versus Will Ospreay for the AEW International / American Championship. What a promo segment on Dynamite, huh? They did a nice job. I think that they were able to pump the brakes on the UK versus American thing and really drill down and really drill down to the essence of the feud, which isn't United States versus UK. That was way too simplistic. This feud always had more depth than that. And they found it. They found it in the promo on Wednesday. And I'm glad that they did. So I still expect MJF to lean into the US thing. Lean into the US thing. I think some big Apollo Creed type Rocky entrance like he does in Rocky IV is expected here, if you ask me. But the essence of this is there. There's depth, there's meaning, there's context. You really got the sense that there's tension between the two and there's disdain between the two. And they're going to beat each other up. And people want to see him fight. Clear heel, clear babyface. This has been well built. Will Ospreay is the pick to win. To me, I don't think he goes into his hometown and loses. You've got the Tiger Driver storyline. I think that this is going to go the way you think it's going to go. It's going to go, match, great match. Tiger Driver, Ospreay wins. I think that's the end of the story here. And Ken, no, I mean the movie with Ivan Drago, yes, but in the fight where Apollo Creed dies, he has this really kind of over the top American entrance, and that's what I mean. So yes, it's that fight, but it's not Drago that does the entrance. All right, Toni Storm versus Mariah May. This is the best built feud, I would say, in company history. And that's across the women's division and the men's division. I've really liked the storytelling here. I mean, you've got everything clicking on all cylinders, clearly defined characters that are aligned the right way, angles and chapters in the story where, that are intriguing, and like each one has gotten to come up on the other. You can feel that they hate each other, but also, have a personal relationship with the other. The world title is on the line. This has all that you need as a championship match, and it's really a strong match because of that. And I hope it gets the time to deliver in the ring that it needs to kind of put a bow on the story and wrap things up. It's been that well done that it deserves a lot of time. I mean, it really does. I think, the story here would be like wrapped up nicer if Toni Storm wins. But I don't think that's what they're going for. I think they want it to be a little bit messy coming out of this. And so I think Mariah May wins here. She's changed her gimmick. She's recently turned heel. Let's see, what else does she do? She like has a new presentation, new kind of gimmick. She's on her own for the first time. Like here, she's got to win. If she doesn't win, it's all for naught. It's kind of like it hurts her if she doesn't win. Toni Storm will be able to come back from it, but if Mariah May doesn't get the W, she's kind of like treading water at that point. So I think this has been a wonderfully built feud, but this is Mariah May's to win. And then finally, wrap up Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. It's apparently championship versus career. My biggest issue with this is, goodness gracious, you've got to define the stipulations better. If it's the end of if it's the end of Bryan Danielson's career, and this potentially the end, talk about that. That has to be like the first bullet point that you hit. His career is on the line. And they didn't touch it really at all on Wednesday. They hadn't really touched on it since he put it out there. At the same time, if he wins, we all know that he doesn't have a contract with AEW. We all know that he wants to be a part-time guy. We all know that his daughter hopes that he's going to lose so that he can, come home and stop being a wrestler. Like, what is it? How is that going to work? These are things that they needed to define going into this match. It had to happen. And it just didn't. And so even though I thought the promo was very good on Wednesday, even though I thought that Danielson finally found the fire that he needed to be a guy that people want to get fully behind, and that's great. And he did it, and better late than never. The gaps in what this match means are tough to overcome. So it's like, I think you have a good main event. I think it's going to be a really good match. I think people are going to be on Bryan Danielson's side, but I think they'd be and the match would be all those things would be elevated times 20 if the details of this were defined better for fans so that they know what they're watching. Like, if Danielson loses, is it really his last match? There's drama there that you can tap into. But they didn't. They either forgot, or they're hedging, or they wish they didn't put it out there. I don't know, but they're not using the stipulation to its fullest potential, and that is unfortunate. Without question, that's unfortunate. Now, who's going to win? That's the question. I'm taking Swerve. I am taking Swerve here. When I look at the tea leaves of what's happening in the company, especially the fact that they've got a pay-per-view 2 weeks from now. like 2 weeks from All In. You need a quick turnaround opponent for Swerve, or for somebody, not necessarily. Well, in this case, I'm making the case for Swerve. But that guy's Hangman. I've already predicted he's going to win the Casino Battle Royal. That is a feud that doesn't need a lot of build. The build's already been happening. In 2 weeks, you can make that match feel really big and really hot. Nothing else you can do that with. Does Danielson and Hangman make sense? I don't know. Not really. So especially if Danielson is going to be like a part-time guy, this is why knowing the stipulations would be effective. So the company shakes out and the other matches shake out better when you look at Danielson losing the match. That to me makes the rest of the company tick a lot easier. So I'm taking Swerve. I'm going out on a limb. Call me crazy. Ken says here, it'd be nice to end the show with Danielson winning. Yeah, it would. But I mean, maybe he's really going to retire. It'd be a nice way to end the show that way too. If he ends the show and retires and has that Shawn Michaels moment that somebody mentioned, that works too. There you go, folks. AEW All In. It's going to be a big night. I will be on the live tweet all throughout the show. Please follow me over on Twitter at Zack_Heydorn. It's right there. You can get all my live reaction, live coverage of the show. You can also, again, become a member over at Brass Ring Media. It's free to do so. You get your membership for free. And for our members, we have pay-per-view and PLE review shows, including this weekend for AEW All In. So you're not going to want to miss that. Check that out. Become a member, and you'll be able to kind of be along on that ride with us. As members, you get all sorts of perks. You get member-only podcasts once a week. You get all of our pay-per-view review shows. You get access to our member Discord community, which is really fun. You get all of our written work that we do on Substack. Tons of stuff. And it's only $4, and the first week is free. Test us out. No harm, no foul. Test us out. If you like us, you can keep going. If you don't, okay. But I think you will, and I think you'll want more. Brass Ring Media, patreon.com/Brass Ring Media. Once again, subscribe to us here on One True Sport on YouTube. Like the video, guys, if you can. It's just one click. Helps us out big time. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. It's been another wonderful week here at 1TS Daily. I will be back Monday, 11 Eastern. We'll talk All In. We'll talk a lot more right here at One True Sport. Thanks so much. Talk to y'all soon. See ya.